afternoon, good evening, and good morning to the UK. Hello, everyone. It's Jordie James, psychic medium, coming to you from Wallen, Australia. Oh my God, I just sounded like I really had a really cool accent then with Australia. So, how are you all doing tonight? It's been a really very interesting week for me, going through working on my business and working on stuff around me. So it's been a really good week, just focusing and starting to put things into motion. So I would like to talk about some things this week. As you all know, I mean, it was last week was full moon, and we're going out of that, and we're going into a blood moon at the end of the month. But it brings up a lot of stuff now, emotional wise and things like that. So for us to sort of sit back and look and reflect, and this month is my birthday month. So I'm a little bit excited because I'm going through things that I need to reflect on that have happened over so many years of me being on this earth plane. So it's quite interesting to look back and go, oh, so in the last couple of weeks, I've been revisiting a lot of stuff, which we do. We need to understand how far we've come and where we're going and what plans and what footsteps we need to take that authentic step into the true soul, into ourselves, or allowing our true soul to come out and flourish. Now, I was going to talk about today true prosperity and wealth and manifestation and putting trust in that. We strategize to a point where we get so bogged down with materialistic stuff that we don't really look at how we can actually manifest it when we're not actually seeing it. And the ebb and flow of this can be quite daunting for us. And it's very interesting when I have been looking over the last 6 years, me working the way I do and being a medium, you sort of understand how the ebb and flow works. And the more you allow yourself to have that ebb and flow, the easier things will manifest and come to fruition. But also just trusting and knowing that as you put your manifestations out and your intentions out to everything that's going really well for you, keep that momentum going, but just make sure that you take stock with what you have. Materialistic things that we have, which is abundance. We sometimes lose sight of understanding that we've got a roof over our head, we've got a gorgeous car, we've got a beautiful family around us, and that is just us being in the material world and knowing that we have this wealth and we have got what we need and it's always provided for. When we feel that there's a lack there, sometimes we get a little bit overbearing with the lack of, like, I don't have this, I can't afford a holiday. We need to sort of, it's a really hard thing. I know it's an exercise that I've been working on, but knowing that these things will come up and the holidays are going to be there and just trusting that it's going to be provided for, but also trusting in your own intentions and your own intuition is a big thing too. Because once you trust yourself and just have that knowing, then everything just falls into place. So that's my little tidbit for this week. I hope that makes sense with everyone. But just be mindful, take stock that the stuff that we have is our abundance, and we can create this as well. As beautiful, abundant beings that we are, we get out of the lack, we come into abundance. So I'll leave that with you. Now I've got Ria from Perth, Western Australia. Hello, Ria. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, yeah, good. Now, you're speaking to someone who used to live in Perth, so this is really exciting. Where are you from in Perth?
Oh, wow. I live in Canning Vale at the moment.
Oh, at Canning Vale.
Yes.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, I used to live in Midland and up in the hills in Helena Valley and stuff.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've still got family over there as well. So, but I do envy your weather over there. It can be, it's winter, but you guys don't go below like 18. It's just phenomenal.
It was
Except at
4
night.
degrees at 6 o'clock this morning.
Oh, wow. Excuse me while I have a cup of tea. Now, welcome. Thank you so much for calling in. Now, did you want to go mediumship or psychic or a bit of both? Or did you...
I'll do a bit of both because I don't have any specifics. I've got changes coming in. I know that.
Yeah. And there's not just one.
I
feel like there's a couple there, and I feel like one intertwines with the other, if that makes sense. So I want to make reference to, is there movement? I feel like house is moving, or you're moving a house, or there's a reference to gaining some property. There's just something movement around property. Does that make sense to you?
That's something I'm looking for. We haven't made any choices towards that, but that's what that's my intentions that I've been putting out there, that I'd like a new house.
Because I feel like that's going to start. It's more towards. It's interesting. I feel like it's more towards the end of the year because it's really now. And I know you said you were planning, but I feel that where you and your husband, would that make sense to you? I want to say that how both of you are sort of working out. It's going to be like your final destination, if that makes sense, in a sense of not moving after this move. It's like, okay, so where are we going to go? Are we going to have a bit of forest? Are we going to have a bit of beach? Are we going to be able to have both? Are we going to have a little bit more that's suburban, a little bit closer to the city, or a little bit further out? You're planning this right now, so you know that this next one is going to be the final one, if that makes sense, or the one that you sort of have. But I know there's travel coming up for you, and I do want to say I feel like next year there's going to be one big sort of holiday to start off with, whether or not it's Europe or the UK, but I just want to make reference to that. Would that make sense to you?
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, we both have been wanting to do a big trip, but obviously with things that are coming up for us, and it's just eventuated that one thing we know about is going to make a big change to our family as we have it at the moment. So that final move to the house is exactly, that's uncanny, because when you said that, I got a bit emotional because that's very, very important, I think, very integral from us.
And it's interesting because once you have that move, I feel that you will, there's a lot more things opening up for you. So I feel like whether or not the finances open up a little bit more, because I feel like you're downsizing, so you're going to have the wealth there, and then that's when the holiday is going to come up next year. So that's just a reference to you. Now, would I make sense to you as well that I feel like I've got a grandfather here who used to wear a hat or have one of those hats? He's very much of a oh God, okay, thank you. I feel like he's a little bit of a rouseabout, and I do want to say I feel like he's on dad's side of the family. If it's not your grandfather, it might be dad, but I just want to make reference to the fact that this gentleman's coming through. Now, are you one of 4 children, or is dad one of 4 children?
Neither of us. I'm just trying to think. I have half brothers and sisters, but...
Okay. Well, I just want to make reference to 4 at this stage. So let me just keep going with this. Now, I feel like your grandfather was a little bit of a rouseabout in a sense that he wouldn't, I feel that he was very much, whether or not he was a bit of a roamer or he liked to go and travel or road trips, but there's just a reference to that. There's Kimberley, but there's a Kimberley reference I just want to make reference to. I don't know if you guys have been up there or there's a connection, but there's just the Kimberley I'm bringing in. So I know you guys are in Western Australia, but I just want to make reference to that because I feel like it's the Kimberley, not the name, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I can see the hat, and it's really interesting. I don't know if he was renowned for his hats, but I do see a Kubra's. I don't see the fedora type hat. I feel like a Kookaburra. But there's just this reference to, I feel like he was very weathered in the face too. I feel that even though he may have passed in his 70s, I feel like he looked like he's in his 80s or 90s. Would that make sense to you as well?
To be honest, I was very young when my grandfather on my father's side passed.
Okay.
So I knew he was. Well, I think the last time I saw him was when I was 4 or 5. You know.
Okay. And would you make reference to the way he looks, like the way I'm explaining and describing him? Like if you look at photos.
When I look at photos, he was obviously a lot younger. The photos that I have of him, I didn't have a lot of contact, and the photos I have, he does wear a hat. But I'm originally from New Zealand, so it wasn't like an Akuba or anything. But
Oh, okay.
There's actually a hat.
Yeah, okay. So is there somewhere similar to the Kimberley over in New Zealand? Like the mountains and stuff? Because I just feel like he's from property and stuff. I don't feel like he's in suburbia, if that makes sense.
No, he wasn't in suburbia. Where I come from is up by the Bay of Islands, actually, in New Zealand, which is right up the top.
So that would be my reference to Kimberley's. Okay, that would make sense. Because of the hills and everything, and the Rocky Mountains and all that sort of stuff. Okay, because it's really interesting because he's showing me the vocabulary of mine, if that makes sense. So I've never been to New Zealand, but he's giving me like this vocabulary. So it sort of makes sense. I don't want to make it fit, but it makes sense to me how he's showing me these things. So, but I feel like he was a little bit of a rouseabout. I feel like he was a bit of a quite an interesting character to talk to. I feel like he would have stories of his life, and whether or not has your dad passed as well? Would that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, because I feel that Dad is also here with me as well. Was he in his late 60s, early 70s when he passed?
Yes, he was.
Thank you. He is a very gentle soul. Would that make sense? I feel like your grandfather's pulled him in, actually. I feel like he's a very gentle soul, and he just wants to say, the biggest thing is thank you. There's a big thing to say thank you. So did you look after him, or did you do a lot of things to prepare or be aware of what was going on after he passed? Because he just wants to say thank you.
I was actually living in Karaka when my father passed, and I just come down to Perth. So, but yes, it's funny. I was just talking about him the other day, and I haven't put a plaque up where he's buried. And I said to my husband, well, he'd be happy with that because he was a very private person. And I said to him, just come and tell me. It's none of their business where I am.
Well, and he's quite gentle, and he's just saying thank you. There's a big thank you to you. But I feel that even though I don't feel like you're the oldest, but I feel like you're one that takes charge of the family, if that makes sense. You're the one that sort of people go, like the kids go to or the family go to. But he's just making me aware of that with you. And can you please start writing? There's something about writing your book or writing things about what you've been through in your life. Now, he is making me aware of 4 children. I'm still seeing 4. Do you have 4 children, or what's the reference with 4?
I don't know. I don't have 4 children, no. I have 2.
Okay. Is there 4 of a kind? Is there 4 of a kind, though? Is there like 4 boys or 4 girls out of 5 or out of 6? But there's just that reference.
Well, he was one of 16.
Okay. Because there's a reference to there's just 4. Can I leave that with you? Because I just I know it will fit somewhere, but I know that's there. Okay, thank you. But he's just really, and his mum's still here. Yes.
No.
A mum has passed. Because he's just making me aware
mum or my mum?
Your mum.
Because my mum, my mum's still here, most definitely, yeah.
Thank you. Yep, thank you. Because I want to say mum's still here because he's making me aware to give her flowers. So the flowers are, bear with me for a second, let me see, because I don't feel like he was much of a flower person, but when he did bring flowers, it was a big deal. So I'll leave that with you, but I just want to make reference to bringing flowers to mum. Now, I also want to make the end of May, start of June is also birthday or anniversary as well. He wants to make reference to, and I feel that's where the flowers are.
Oh, okay.
So I'll leave that with you as well. I don't feel like it's Mother's Day. I feel like it's more towards the end of May, around the 31st. I want to say 31st of May, or there's something around the 31st of May, but I'll leave that with you. Also, he wants to say stop holding yourself back. There's a big thing about holding yourself back. And he goes, sometimes you put a ball and chain around your feet because you don't want to move forward too much because you're worried how it may ripple effect with the family. He's going, you've always cared and always worried about family. You need to start looking after and doing things for you and your husband now.
Yep, he's right.
So it's like I want to say he's telling me to take the ball and chain off those ankles and allowing you to step forward and doing things that you've always wanted to do. And I do feel that this move by the end of the year, this move's going to free up a lot of stuff for you so you'll be able to do the things over like overseas and stuff, because I do feel like there's a holiday coming up. And also he's also telling me about your work. You get a little bit frustrated. Do you work? Yes?
No, I don't actually. I want to start up my own business. But
okay, is that where the frustration is?
Yes, because now I've got another thing that's come in that there's no way around it. We have to deal with that first. So I need to try and work out how I can do it around my commitment, because we're taking on...
Is that family commitments? Yeah, I was going to say you're taking on... Sorry, I just saw the child. And this would be family. Would that make sense to you? It's not a foster child or such. It's family. Does that make sense?
That's correct. It's my husband's nephew, yeah.
Okay, because you still need to make sure that you do things. This is why you're getting frustrated around the work environment. So you need to make sure that you take stock with things that you do. Okay? So can I leave that with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, but Ria, taking on what you've just taken on is going to allow you to see that you need to take that ball and chain off the ankles and still do what you want to do. You can't stop those things that are coming up for yourself because of what the outside have given you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So may I leave that with you, Ria? Thank you so much.
Yes, I can. That's great.
Thank you. And I'll give you your dad's love and flowers to your mum, please. And I feel like they're big poppies and all that sort of stuff. So I'll leave that with you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Ria. Bye-bye. Cheryl from Rockwood. Hi, how you going? Sorry to keep you waiting. How are you?
That's okay. I'm okay.
Oh, that's good. So did you want to go... I think I'm going to go mediumship with you, but did you want a bit of psychic as well?
Sure.
Okay, because I just want to say I've got a lady here who's very forceful and who's very, she's actually standing behind me and she's pushing forward, and she's very much of a person that wants... It's really interesting because I want to say when she was here, she would get her point across straight away. But it was gentle as well. But she was very, I want to say she's got this personality and this energy that as soon as you open the door, you know she's already there. There's just that reference with her. Now, I do want to say, I don't know if it's mum or grandmother, but she's on mum's side of the family, this lady. And I feel like she's quite, I feel like she's a bit busty. I feel like she's a solid lady, but I don't feel like she's big. if that makes sense. I feel like that's just the way she's coming across. I do want to say she's making me aware that she's got her legs. I don't feel like she's a very tall lady. I feel like she's about 5'2", 5'3". But I just want to make reference. She's not a very tall lady, but she's very forward. She's also making me reference around 58 around her. So I don't know. I don't feel like it was the age that she passed, but there's something around 58 in her age, whether or not it's health or there's life changes around her. Would that make sense to you?
Yes, I think that would be my great-grandmother.
Okay. And there's also making me aware about 6 children or something about 6 children as well.
No.
Okay, I'll leave that with you because she's given me 6. So if there's more than 6, there's 6 of a kind, but I just want to make reference to 6 because when I get 6, I just get 6. Oh, now, did she have problems with her, do you know if she had problems with her throat or, like, speaking? Because I feel like I'm getting really dry and there's stuff around my throat with her. Would that make sense with you?
I'm not sure exactly what went on. I know she had breast cancer at one point, but are you hearing anything from maybe my brother?
Okay, let me have a look. Yeah, let me just quickly look. So this would make sense with your great-grandmother having her, I feel like she's got her breasts back and she's got a big, but I just want to make reference to that. Now let me see, because she's just making me aware she's busty now. There's just that reference. But also, is your, it's really funny because I feel like that's a family trait as well. I just, on mum's side, I'll leave that with you. Now let me just see if she's in now. Okay. So was it your brother that was 58 as well? No. He was younger?
No. The only thing in 58 was the year my mum was born.
Okay.
That's the only thing I can think of with that.
No, that's fine. So let me just keep going. I just want to see if he's going to come through. Has he been gone, I want to say, a little while, but not that long? Would that make sense to you?
My brother, he passed away in 2004. My grandfather passed away a year ago, though. He might be trying to come through as well.
Thank you, because I feel like he's the one that's going to come through, because I want to make reference to, I've got this gentleman that's coming through that has like a square shoulder. And, okay, thank you. Would I make reference to him being around his late 70s, early 80s?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, no, your grandfather's coming through, just to give you a bit of a heads up. Your brother, he wants to make reference to, though, your brother hasn't come through as yet, but I do want to say there's a lot of healing that's gone around your brother, because I feel like your grandfather's coming through quite persistent in a sense. Now, whether or not there's 6 children, but I feel like they've all sort of jumped in on top, because I know you're the last caller. I feel like they've all jumped in together. So they're just giving me information, if that makes sense. I can't pinpoint at this stage who, but I know your grandfather's right here. We have 5 kids,
and then we have pets, so maybe it's that. I don't know.
That's okay. Okay, grandfather. Yep. Okay. Is there a George or a G name I want to bring through as well?
Gerald.
Thank you.
He's not passed. He's my
no,
spouse.
he's still here?
Oh, Gunther.
Okay.
Passed.
Thank you. Because there's just a reference to this, so you know that I'm connecting with your grandfather, if that makes sense. Now, I feel like he was a very industrious man. I feel like whether or not he worked with his hands, but I know he's got this really awesome mind. Like, he's very clever in his way of talking and things like that. He's just that beautiful thing. Now, he's making me aware. Did your brother have an illness? Because I don't feel like your brother's here just yet. But did your brother have an illness for quite some time, whether or not it was 4 to 5 years or there's a reference to that? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Now, did your brother lose weight as well? Because I feel like when I'm connecting, I know I can start seeing him come in. He was a very young man. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, he was 28.
Thank you. Because I feel like he would be in his late 40s, early 50s now, because he's showing me that. but he's just making me aware that the illness really took hold in the last 6 months of his life.
Yes.
Okay. He's been around you in the last couple of months, and he's telling you to make sure you look for the funny sides of life. That's the biggest thing.
Okay.
He's a bit of a prankster and he's a bit of a jokester, but he wants to make reference to when you get a giggle, when you think of something, you know he's around you, and that's the biggest thing for you right now.
Yeah.
So is his anniversary coming up this month?
I suffer from depression, so I'm...
Okay.
Oh, his birthday.
What's July?
July is my oldest son's birthday.
Okay, because he's just making me aware that he's going to be around in July. I'm getting wrapped up here, Cheryl, but I do want to say he's very much around you, and he wants you to kick yourself in the butt because there's some beautiful things that are coming up for you in the next couple of weeks. So can I leave that with you? I'm getting a wrap up, Cheryl.
Okay.
You can contact me on Jordie Jane's Psychic Medium on my Facebook page or jordiejanes.com.au, but I would love to finish this reading for you, Cheryl. Enjoy your evening, and thank you so much for allowing me to connect with your brother. He's so gorgeous, and he's a very quick one. Like, he was in and out. I just want to say he was in and out.
Yeah.
So I'll leave that with you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Have
a great week, and I'll talk to you all next week. Thank you, Cheryl. All right. Bye.